Okay, so this is where I left you off. You were trying those problems to see if you could find their x and y intercepts. Let's go ahead and check on the answers. And let me move the screen over. So your answer should be, for the first one, x-intercept should be 4/3, 0. Ooh, there's those fractions. I hope you reduced them. If you didn't give me 4/3, it should be 1 1/3. I don't care for the decimal version of this because it's repeating, but it would be 1.3 repeating, 0. And your y-intercept for the first one is 0, 4. Number 2, your x-intercept is 15, 0, and your y-intercept is 0, 5. And then number 3, your x-intercept is 9, 0, and your y-intercept is 0, -6. Okay, so those are the answers to that. We'll be back to you try problems in a couple of minutes. Let's go ahead and go back to your notes. We are going to take the things we've just talked about and transition them into slope-intercept form. I am hoping that you guys still have slope-intercept form memorized from your Algebra 1 days. You should be thinking, oh, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. We talked about that already at the beginning of the lesson, so m is slope, and b is your y-intercept. Okay. So first thing we have to do in this lesson is we need to identify the slope and the y-intercept. In order to identify the slope and y-intercept, your equation needs to be in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, right, y equals mx plus b, you're solving for y. This is that rearranging equations that we did, I don't know, what was that, second quarter, I think we did rearranging. So this should be something you're familiar with. You are going to subtract your x, and then you are going to divide by -1. Now, the way that this is written, 10 minus x, I don't recommend that. You can jump in right away and put the x first. I think most of you probably naturally will do that. So think about rearranging like that. So -x plus 10 is probably going to be probably a little bit more normal for some of you. Dividing by -1, y equals x minus 10. No, your final answer should not be -10 plus x. That's not technically slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b is what you're going for. M, there's no number in front of x, but your slope is 1. And b, your intercept is -10. Again, it's a y-intercept. I recommend you write 0, -10 to remind you that it's an ordered pair. But that's just a suggestion. All right, letter B. Same thing, you're going to subtract x to the other side. This time it takes a little bit more work. You have to divide by 3. So divide by 3 here and here underneath the x and the 15. So you end up with a -1/3 x and a 5. The 1 from the 1/3, remember there's a 1 in front of that x. So it's a -1/3 x and then plus 5. Your slope is a -1/3. Your intercept is a 0, 5. Again, I want you to notice on your slope that it is not including the x. The x is a variable. The x is not part of your slope. So your slope is just a number, -1/3. Letter C. You're going to subtract your 25x. So -25x plus 30. Then you're going to divide by -5. So -25 divided by -5 is +5. And 30 divided by -5 is -6. So 5 is your slope and -6 is your y-intercept. Okay? Writing an equation of a line in slope-intercept form given a graph is your next option. So when you're looking at this work, you need to be able to identify the slope and the y-intercept. Y-intercept is easy to pull out. Just go to your y-axis, and where does it cross? It crosses at 5, so b equals 5. That's easy. The other part is the part we practiced earlier in the lesson, doing rise over run. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go up to here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I rose 5, +5 because I went up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went right 5, right is also positive. So slope is 5/5, which you reduce to 1. y equals mx plus b, so mx, slope is 1, so 1x plus 5. Okay. Second one, again, identify your y-intercept right there. It's at -4, so b equals -4. You can see that they have marked some points here, so this is the point you're going to. That's your only option on this graph. So from here, you're going to go 1, 2. You're going to go up 2, 1, 2, 3, left 3. So I went up 2 and left 3. If you start here, you could go down 2 and right 3. Either way, it gets you the same thing. Down 2, -2, right 3, +3, or up 2, so +2, left 3, so -3. Either direction you go, you're still going to get a -2/3. So y equals -2/3 x minus 4. This next one, slope, is you don't have to do any work. It's a horizontal line. Again, you can go back to the beginning of the notes and refer to those if you need to. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. And then your y-intercept, you can see right there, is at 4. So y equals mx plus b. So 0 times x is 0. You don't write it in at all. You just write y equals 4. It makes sense. If you look at all the ordered pairs on that line, all of them would have a y value of 4. Okay, so that's how that works. Last one has another interesting twist. Notice that your y-intercept is 0, so b equals 0. From there, you could go up 3, so 1, 2, 3, so up 3, so and then right 1, so 3/1. You could go here and you could go down 3 and left 1, so -3 and -1, which would also get you a +3. So whichever direction you go, you're still going to get a slope of 3. You could even go, let's start at this point, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so up 6, and then you could go right 2, and up 6, right 2 would still get you a slope of 3. So it doesn't matter where you start and where you end, you're still going to get a slope of 3. Y equals mx plus b. So think about that plus 0. Do we need to write in a plus 0? No, we don't. That's just extra stuff we don't need to write. So y equals 3x, and just leave it like that. And then we are going to end this lesson with your favorites. We are going to do some story problems, some application problems, if you will. Okay, I'm not going to show you what we've got yet. It says, Miss Ayana and Miss Brianna would like to start a club at Riverside. They collect $50 through a fundraiser, plus $5 per student who would like to join them. Write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the situation. I want you to identify the word in there that we talked about last semester that tells you what you're doing. What operation are you using? Can you identify an important word in there? I hope you're identifying the word per, right? $5 per student. When we talked about per, do you remember what it meant? It meant multiplication, okay? We also talked about defining our variables. What would x be in this equation? X would be the number of students. What would y be? Total amount of money. Do we know the total amount of money? No. So that's what we have to find. So your equation should be y equals 5x plus 50. $5 per student plus the $50 they got in a fundraiser. Okay? Now you have to do the interpretation. What does the slope of the equation represent? So what does $5 represent? The 5 represents that they will get $5 every time a student joins their club, because it's 5 per student. What does the y-intercept represent? That's where they start, right? Think about the y-intercept. That's where you start your graph. So $50 is going to be that they are going to have $50 regardless of whether other people happen to join their club or not. They will have $50 regardless of the number of students who join. They will start with $50. All right, go ahead and grab your whiteboards. We are going to try a story problem on your own and see if you can handle it. Please go ahead and pause the video, and I will be right back. Okay, hopefully you guys have all had enough time to work on this. Let's go ahead and look at the answer and see what we came up with. So, oh, that's not the right one. I'm sorry, guys. Oops. Here we go. That's the one I'm looking for. So, you are talking about Zach and Jeremy playing a game of basketball at Riverside Park. The park fee is $10 plus $2 per person. There's that per again. It makes it really obvious that 2 is your slope. So y equals 2x plus 10. The fee is $10, and you also have to pay $2 per person. What does the slope mean? Each person has to pay $2. What is the y-intercept? You have to start your payment, or the beginning of the payment is at $10. Okay? All right, that should be it for today. I hope you guys do well with this work. Work on your homework. If you get done with your homework, go ahead and check it on Haiku and see how you did. All right, bye.